Alright, I'm restarting this real quick. Alright, hello everyone. This is just a little random video I'm making. There's a bunch of people at my work that were wondering exactly what it is that I do, and I figured instead of, trying to explain it all, I'll show them. So, right now we have a flight scheduled from Istanbul to Van, Turkey. So I'm going to start going through some of the processes to get this whole thing set up. First things first is to take our flight management computer and put in a request for our flight plan. I already pre-filed this on a online website called SimBrief that I use to plan my flights. So it just populates all the data. Turkish to Golf Yankee is our flight number. Let's go ahead and import our winds as well. So we have our wind data ready to go. I am also, before I do anything, I am going to pull up the departure charts and ground charts for the airport. It said we're departing runway 35 right. I believe. I'm just checking my operational flight plan. I don't have it here on the screen. I've got it on my phone and also on another app. Okay, so yeah, 35 right. So let's go ahead and take a look. Airport. Alright, so here is us. Departure runway 35 right is this one. So we'll push back and then taxi down here to 35 right. So we'll do that. What is our departure? What's our SID, our standard instrument departure? Let's go ahead and take a look. We don't actually have a program. Let me look at my. It is the Vincent 1 Delta. So departures 35 right. Vincent 1 Delta, no transition. And I'll go ahead and show that to you guys here as well. Vincent 1 Delta, there it is. So departure off of 35 right has us flying north to this waypoint, Foxtrot Mike 026, then left Foxtrot Mike 020, then left again to Foxtrot Mike 021, Elnug, Mikak, Filfu, Foxtrot Mike 044, Foxtrot Mike 046, Inruv, Lidmu, Notvi, and then finally Vissen. So transition altitude, input elevation 325. I'll explain kind of what I'm yapping about in a little bit. It doesn't really matter at the moment. Fun clearance 5K. Okay. All right. So at the very bottom right here, it says initial climb clearance 5,000. So technically, the controller is only allowed to give us 5,000 before the departure or the departure guy tells us to not go any higher. But speaking of which, let's go ahead and call our clearance controller before we fully set this in. So clearance is 121.7. So this is our radio. We'll be using it to contact the clearance controller. Let me go ahead and write down the information that I do know already so I don't accidentally forget some. 12 Yankee. Istanbul clearance, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee requesting IFR clearance to Van Airport as filed. Jeez, that's loud. Okay. Sorry about that. Did not expect that to be so loud. I don't even know if you guys get. Okay, so that didn't come through. Turkish 2 Golf Yankee cleared to Van Airport via the Visit 1 Delta departure, climb initial 5,000, departure on 118.9 or 5, squawk 4757. And can we change the departure runway to 35 right for Turkish 2 Golf Yankee? One to 1.67 Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. Alright, let's I don't think you guys could hear them. So I think I selected the wrong one. Yeah, I did select the wrong one. Alright. So we should have the right one on now. So turning on some of the nav lights. So these are the exterior green and red lights. This is important to turn on because you need to make sure that people see that you're, a plane that's active, that has people inside of it. Nothing else needs to be turned on yet. Alright. She gave me clearance up to 5,000. Iris in alignment 7 minutes. I should have started with the iris. The iris, or the initial reference units, take the longest to line up. Those essentially are the backups to the GPS navigation that the aircraft has on board. They act as like a bunch of like gyroscopes built into the aircraft that's based off of the aircraft's based off of a bunch of other units and a bunch of other data such as airspeed, heading, stuff like that. It basically creates a map for itself, and basically like guesstimates of where it is relative to the world. Now granted, it's not perfect. If you rely exclusively on your initial reference system, you're going to slowly grow more and more in disparity in terms of like differences between what is actually the case and where your aircraft is and where it thinks it is. So it's always important to have multiple systems, but that's just a backup system that you can have. Some of the things that I need to pull up is really quickly is I need to get the weather really quickly for actually I can pull up the weather on the ATIS 126.35. Let's go ahead and pull this up.
Istanbul Airport Information Charlie,
Okay.
0100 Zulu, wind 032 at 4, visibility 6, ceiling 500 broken, 2,300 broken,
Okay,
25,500, runways 34 left.
Okay. I forgot about that.
Istanbul Airport Information Charlie,
Oh my gosh, it's doing both of these because there's an in-game ATC and there is an out-of-game ATC right now. Frick. No. How do I disable the ATC? Oh. There's a sound one specifically for radio.
4 left, 35 left,
There we go.
36. Wind 040 at 9er.
Okay, we have to
Visibility
wait.
2. Missed. Broken at 200. Broken at 2200. Temperature 16. Dew point 15. QNH 1016. Transition level 130. Cargo ramp operations ongoing. Expect delays for ground runs. Advise on initial contact. You have information, Juliet. Istanbul
I'm just gonna
Airport.
list this one more time.
Information, Juliet. 0020 Zulu. Arriving runways 34 left, 35 right, 36. Departing runways 34 left, 35 left, 36. Wind 040 at 9er. Visibility 2. Missed. Broken at 200. Broken at 2200. Temperature 16.
Alright, we've got our information that we need. So our IRS is going to take a little bit of time to align because I started that a little bit late. So it's just going to take a minute. So sit tight, gents. I might skip ahead to a little bit. I guess I'll start while we're waiting. I can explain a few of the things that are going on. Let me just move the camera up and over. So this is the central column. There's a bunch of information here. The parts that were important are the radio. This is adjustable, so it's just like a regular radio with various frequencies. So this is the audio panel, so depending on which radio you want to call, this is VHF 1, this side is VHF 1, this is VHF 2, there's VHF 3 technically. I don't think it's operational right now because of oh, I'm in the ceiling. VHF radio, yeah, so if I were to put that in and then click VHF radio 3, which is this one, then it would turn to that one. So just a bunch of redundant radio systems. And then there's also higher frequency radio, which we can switch, and you can see that if you select these, it will change it to whatever one you want to use. So just like I said, a bunch of redundant radios. Over here, this is our weather system. So we have multi-scan, which basically will scan around, or we'll have multiple things scanning the clouds in front of us for precipitation. GCCS. I don't actually know what this one. I think it might be the up-down. System 1, or just selecting one of the systems. I have system 2 selected. It doesn't really matter which one you select. Unless one is down, they both work the same way. PWS is predictive wind shear. This means that if we're encountering a lot of sudden turbulence, this will basically detect it and try and fight it. And then this is weather and this is the mode. We have weather and turbulence, and map mode. We're selecting weather and turbulence because we want to know both where the weather is and also where the turbulence is, if possible. Over here we have the transponder. This is what communicates with other aircraft and with the ground controllers to send data to and information about speed, altitude, stuff like that. So that's what that is. Here is obviously the throttle levers. We have a few other things. Oh, I did forget to start this up, but I'll get to that in a minute. There's the MCP, which is the mode control panel. This is how the pilots determine what mode they're in and how their aircraft is going to operate. So this is where all of this does. You can kind of think of it as the autopilot panel. Above is a lot more of the technical stuff. So you have air in kind of this bottom section a little bit. You have lights of various types. Each one kind of sort of self-explanatory. The nav lights I already showed you. The beacon lights are the red blinky ones. We don't turn those on until we have our APU started. Nose is on the nose. Landing lights are landing lights. Wing lights are wing lights. Those are self-explanatory. Then you have the interior lights, which are seatbelt signs, emergency lights, no smoking signs, etc., etc., etc. On this left side is primarily just a bunch of the computer systems with some stuff here at the bottom for this is how the pilots contact the pursers or the cabin crew, basically, to tell them to do stuff. Here's the IRUs, which I already explained. In the middle here is our electrical system. So this is where you can see most of the electrical issues, so including your battery, your various access buses, and yada yada, generators, APU generator, external power, etc., etc. This is the pumps. These are primarily just fuel pumps. And then this is the three systems for hydraulics, so green, blue, and yellow, depending on if there is a leak in the brake line or in the fuel lines, not fuel lines, in the hydraulic lines. Other systems can be enabled to help support the aircraft so it doesn't fall out of the sky. So there's a few other things. You have the fire extinguishers here. You can actually press this. There you go. And engine 2. Yep, all three are good. Flight test complete. And yeah, and then back here and above are the basically fuses. You can kind of think of them as it's pretty much identical to fuses. So yeah, we are going to quickly disable VHF3. We don't need that. I am going to finish setting up the MCP, or not the MCP, the flight management computer, FMC. This align. Alright. I'm going to quickly get a bunch of the takeoff data. So now our computer can see where we are. So if we zoom in, there's the runway that's directly behind us. We're going to ask if we can depart runway 35 right when we contact ground. Alright, so those are our takeoff speeds, 158, 158, and 160. V1 is the fastest speed you can achieve before rejecting takeoff, so you can reject a takeoff at any speed below 158. After that, it's too late. VR is the rotation speed, so that's the speed at which the aircraft is going to rotate off the ground. V2 is the single engine speed. That is the minimum speed required for the aircraft to suddenly have a loss of an engine and the aircraft still maintain flight. So if an engine goes out above 160, we're still fine. Transition altitude, basically aircraft need to know pressure in order to know altitude. So we have what are called local pressures, which is this right now 1016, and we also have nominal pressure, which is 1018, I believe it is. I believe it's 1018. Yeah, it's considered standard. So at 12,000 feet, we are changing from the local pressure, which is 1016, to the nominal pressures, which is 1018, because the aircraft is high enough off the ground that it doesn't really matter the difference in pressures between nominal and the local pressure. Flap settings, this is just the settings of the flaps. It's basically how much the flaps are going to extend. I'm going to double check that's diffs rip. I'm going to check the rad nav, that's good. One thing I do need to input, because it is a relatively short flight, is I am also going to input the arrival, because it is, like I said, a short flight. Our approach runway is 03, so we'll do a localize our approach. Beyaz, Beyaz 1 Alpha. Beyaz 1 Alpha, no via, no transition. Alright, excellent. So let's just double check and see if we have any. Go and double check and see if we have any discrepancies, or if it's good to just, yep, okay. Usually there's like a dotted line to indicate if there's like, if one point does not connect to another, so I double checking to make sure that all the points along the route connect up together. Now that we have everything set up, we can go ahead and turn on our APU. This is our auxiliary power unit. This is what's going to provide both electricity for the aircraft once it disconnects from the ground power, as well as air for the engines in order for them to start up. We'll also go ahead and call it the pushback tug just to get them ready. So those are now ready. We're going to wait for this to turn on. As you can see, the APU gen is slowly, the engine temperature for the APU is slowly building up. And so is everything else. You hear those clicks behind me. Those are the various things switching from the ground power system to the electrical system, as well as enabling various other things to get ready for that. So N is at 80%. Once it reaches about 100%, there we go. APU is now available, so we'll switch to APU bleed. Turn off external power. So now it's running off of the APU. Let's go ahead and disconnect all. Oh, first things first, double check parking lot or parking brake is on. Go ahead and disconnect all external and shocks. Oh, I probably should have explained that the passengers have already boarded the flight, so we don't have to worry about that. We're going to check a few things. We can't turn this on until the engines are on. So bleed air is properly being supplied by the APU because all systems are green. Pressure is looking good. Delta P should be 0 as it is. Electrical systems, the APU is running the generators. Let's check the batteries. Both good. We got its batteries being powered, the DC buses all being powered, and the AC buses. Hydraulics are not on because they only turn on with the engines. Fuel is being supplied to the APU, which is good. APU is running, conditioner is running, so that both the cabin and the captain can relax and chillax, if you will. Doors will close once, or will be armed once we start the engines. Anti-skid. Alright, the rest of this we don't have to worry about until we push back, so let's go ahead and call ground. What was the information? I completely forgot what it was. Istanbul ground, Turkish to Gulf Yankee, ready for push and start. We have information X-ray on board.
Turkish to Gulf Yankee, Istanbul Airport ground, push and start approved. Face south.
Face south, Turkish to Gulf Yankee. Alright, so we're going to have to change the instructions really quickly. Alright, and the guy, there's the pushback tug. So with that, we are going to go ahead and turn on our beacon lights. So like I said, those are the lights on the top and on the bottom, indicating that the aircraft is live and is about to be pushed back. And Istanbul ground, can we get a runway change for Turkish to Gulf Yankee to runway 35 right?
Golf Yankee, runway change approved. Taxi to runway 35 right via Alpha, Bravo 1, Charlie.
Alpha Bravo 1 Charlie, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. Alright, so we got approval to depart on the other runway, so that's good. This one Delta, let's go ahead and pull. So he wants us Alpha Bravo 1 Charlie. What? Okay, so here's Charlie. Where the heck is Alpha? Here's Alpha. Where the heck does this plane think I am? Bravo 1 Alpha is here. Alright, I don't know what the heck that was. That was weird. I don't think the people know what they're doing. Alright, I think we are good for push, so we'll go ahead and release parking brake. Alright, and with that, let's go ahead and start engines. So switch the ignition, or switch the engine mode to ignition, and engine 2 start. Let's go ahead and watch this N2 climb. Just going to make sure that everything is all working. All my various toys are connected and working properly. Yes, everything is working properly. I'm going to shut up for this startup. Absolutely beautiful aircraft. Here comes engine number 1. Alright, pushback complete. Set parking brake. And that is system. That switched over. So we'll go ahead and turn on our probe and window heat. Those make sure that the sensors on the outside don't freeze over. So now this is running on engine power, and we can verify this with the electrical panel. Yep, generator on and generator 1, generator 2 are both online. Go ahead and disconnect hand signals. We are going to quickly do a quick flight control check. So pitch up, pitch down, rudder right, rudder left, ailerons left, ailerons right. Alright, everything looks to be in order. We'll go ahead and drop our flaps by 1. Turn that off. Engage our speed brakes. Those just make sure that when we take off that we can come to a stop safely. Engine is good. Bleed air is running and good. Pressure is being provided by the packs. Electrical systems good. Hydraulics all online. Fuel lines are running well. Wheels are good. Doors need to be armed. Conditioner is working, or air conditioning is working. So yeah, and he's clear of us. And we'll go ahead and turn on our taxi lights. Istanbul ground. Can you give us our taxi instructions again for Turkish 2 Golf Yankee?
Turkish 2 Golf Yankee, runway 35 left, taxi via Tango 2, Echo 9er, Delta 11, Delta, Charlie 1, Bravo, Charlie 1, Alpha, hold short off, runway 35 right.
Istanbul ground, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee requesting runway change to runway 35 right.
Turkish 2 Golf Yankee, runway 35 right approved. Taxi via Tango 2, Echo 9er, Delta 11, Delta, Charlie 1, Bravo, Charlie 1, Alpha, all short of runway 35 right.
Let's Tango 1, Echo 9er. Runway 35 right taxi via Tango 1 Echo 9er Delta Charlie 1 Bravo Charlie 1 Alpha hold short to runway 35 right. Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. Alright. So it's going to be taxi straight ahead and then straight left on the second taxiway and then down. Oops. Alright, let's go ahead. Get the show on the road. There's slightly a little cloud cover, but there's no rain at least, so we shouldn't experience any icing conditions. And also it's, summertime, so it won't be very cold anyways. Alright, so skip this first taxiway, and this next one should be Delta. Yep. So, try left here. Nope, auto brakes armed. Takeoff config. Takeoff config normal. Signs on, cabin ready. Spoilers armed. Flaps to takeoff position. Alright, pre-flight checklist. Pre-flight checklist complete. So, Charlie 2 Alpha and then Charlie 1 Alpha is the one after the sign. For any signs that you see on the airport, they are indicating the taxiway that is directly behind them. Departures on 118.905, so I'll just have that ready after my tower contact. Should be correct. Yep, that is correct. There's no more taxiways back here, so this has to be the last one. We'll go ahead and pull up. Now, granted, the tower controller or the ground controller should have given us over to the tower, but sometimes the AI is stupid and doesn't do that. So we're going to have to contact the ground controller. So now we pull up right before this line right here. This is the hold short line. This just ensures that any aircraft are able to land safely and that the safety margins
Turkish
are...
2 Golf Yankee, cross runway 35 right, then continue taxi via Bravo 1, Bravo.
No, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee requesting takeoff runway 35 right.
Turkish 2 Golf Yankee, contact tower for takeoff clearance on runway 35 right.
You're not even going to give me the tower controller. Okay, fine, I'll pull that myself. 118.075. Bruh. This is why I like talking to proper controllers and not AATs or not AI, but it's what we gotta work with. Istanbul Tower, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee requesting takeoff clearance runway 35 right.
Turkish 2 Golf Yankee, runway 35 left, wind 040 at 9er, cleared for takeoff.
Istanbul Tower, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee requesting to take off runway 35 right. They just can't change their minds, huh? 35 left isn't even a departure runway. It's always. Oh, wait, no, never mind. It kind of. Well, it depends. Frick this. It's freaking AI. I don't really care. If it was like real traffic, I would listen. But it's AI. I don't really care. He's not able to process the feeling of I don't want to change my flight plan because some stupid tower won't listen. Alright. So landing lights are on. Our strobe lights are also on. Go ahead and land.
Approaching runway 35 right.
Thank you. Aircraft fully ready, configured for takeoff. Let's go ahead, hit 50%. 50%.
On runway 35 right remaining.
Stable.
3,200 feet.
SRS, runway green. Climb and now blue. Manual flex. 100, release forward pressure. V1, rotate. Alright, positive rate of climb, gear up. Change this over to the other departure. Just maintaining that screen crosshair right there in the middle. Contact departure, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. Because of that, we'll turn on our autopilot and we'll wait. Lever climb. Throttle set to climb. Let's go ahead and contact our departure. 118.905. Istanbul departure, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee, passing 2,500 for 5,000.
Turkish 2 Golf Yankee, Yeşilköy departure, radar contact.
Radar contact, alright. tools are working just as intended. Perfect. Go ahead.
Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. Climb flight level 210.
Flight level 210, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. That was such a delayed answer. That's funny. Alright, so we've been cleared to climb to flight level 210. I don't know how much of this you guys are going to watch. I mean, you can skip ahead if you want to skip through some of these procedures, but it's very boring. The next quote-unquote interesting thing is we turn off our landing lights at to 10,000 feet. But like I said, that's not very interesting, so you guys can skip ahead. I'm going to upload this whole thing onto YouTube, not really caring about who sees it. But yeah, kind of just showing what I do. And it'll be with all my mistakes, all my goof ups, all these things. I don't really care. I've tried to create like good videos, edit them, and all that jazz, but I'm not gonna get any really any views or many views. Anyways, so I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm just flying and playing in a simulator, and I'm not even doing it like the quote-unquote perfectly optimized, exactly how real-life pilots do it way. I'm just doing it for fun, so I don't really care about the quality of my quote-unquote uploads. So it's fun, and that's all that matters. So yeah, I'm gonna just wait till 10,000 feet. Which is going to be that big point right there. Oh, one thing I forgot to do. I forgot to turn on my terrain radar. I was supposed to turn that on. Oopsie daisies. Alright. I'm going to go to access.
Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. Climb flight level 260.
Climb flight level 260, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. Bunch of waypoints between me and my destination, so we're just going to keep that up. This is genuinely quite fun. I really do enjoy doing this. Some people say it's a little bit insane. I think it's just fun. Alright, 10,000. Lights off. Alright, those are all landing lights off. At 10,000 feet, we'll also turn off our seatbelt sign. There is Istanbul Airport. Absolute gargantuan behemoth of an airport. Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have turned on my traffic. I'm gonna have to do that for the next video that I do. I forget I have like on an AI traffic plugin as well, but you guys can already see it's a little bit hard to make out probably on the video, but the sky's lighting up a bit as the sun starts to rise on a really early morning in Turkey. It's a little bit late where I'm at, so the sun's kind of starting to peek up over the clouds, but yep. So we've reached our cruising speed, cruising Mach number, which I should be able to pull up somewhere. Yeah, so our Mach is either 301, so speed 301, or Mach 0.77. So, as the aircraft climbs higher and higher, the
Turkish 2 Golf Yankee.
Climb flight level 310.
Flight level 310, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. Did y'all hear what the heck that controller was saying? He was like, yeah. He was like, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. Yeah. Bro, is bro okay? Must be having that late sinking shift. Anyways, as I was saying, as the aircraft climbs higher, you can see that the knot number stays at 301, but the Mach number climbs. The reason for that is because Mach is relative to the medium which you are traveling through, whereas knots is just the overall like relative speed to like the ground. I think it is. I think that's right. Or just honestly your airspeed. So this little blue arrow right here, this is our top of climb. Top of descent will be somewhere over here. I'm just looking through all the other instrumentation. I would explain to you all the other stuff, but it would take a lot of explaining. Kind of the scans that I'm doing. Might as well, while we're at it, pull up the arrival charts for van. Now this airport I know for a fact is
Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. Engineering climb flight level 350.
350, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. Again, what the heck is that noise? Is this what I think it is? Yes, I know this airport very well. I do not like it. No, wait. No, I don't know this airport. This is different than what I'm used to. This is a different one. I'm used to a different airport. There's another airport where when you taxi off of it, it is like pretty much a slope down into the terminal. And if you don't have your brakes ready, you just slide down into it. So we'll go ahead and get our arrival. What is our arrival? Beya 1 Alpha. Beya's 1 Alpha. So we're coming in from Beya's, descending 7,600 into Inca. I'm assuming then that localizer 03. Holy buckets of macaroni and cheese. Yo. This is a sick approach. Oh my freaking goodness gracious me, oh misers. This is a sick approach. Okay, 1 second. Let me just make sure that. Yeah, we'll check that later, but. Holy cow, this is sick. Okay, so there's a DME localizer that is not built into the runway. No, it is built into the runway, but basically because this airport is in such a weird location. Oh, this is awesome. So because this airport is such a weird location, the approach procedure into this runway, which is, I assume, the only safe approach into this airport. Because let me check and see. Yeah, there are no other approaches into this airport. Wait, does that mean that there's only departures from the opposite runway? Wait a second, I want to see this. No, there are departures, but departures are easier to do than approaches. Anyways, so because of how this is situated, this is the only runway the aircraft are allowed to land on safely because of the mountains that are behind and to the right of the airfield. But because there is also a slight hill behind, there is a kind of a hill behind this approach course, and there's also a stinking building here, which is crazy that there's just a building here on the approach path into the runway. It means that there are limitations that the aircraft has to do. So, for example, here we can only have a maximum of 200 knots and a mandatory 7,600. That low speed, which most arrivals can be like between 220 to 220-ish, but the reason for that is because you can then make a go around or missed approach much easier. Now let's spend the missed approach in a little bit, but yeah, and mandatory 7,600. You have to be at 7,600 exactly here. You cannot be above or below. You must be exactly 7,600. And then as you descend, you are descending at a 3.5 degrees, so that you can see that that's this. 3.5 degrees, slightly steeper than most aircraft, but perfectly fine for almost anyone. Descending all the way down into the airport. And so you have these points that you have to keep an eye out to make sure you are crossing them at this exact altitude. Like, for example, Delta 5.9, which is 5.9 miles away from the runway, is right over this building, and this building is at 6,214. So you have to make sure you are at that altitude, because if you're any lower, you have a chance of hitting that building. Then you descend into this valley at Delta 4.5, or DME is what it's called in aviation terms, where it's just miles away. DME is just a quick verbiage to say that. 4.5 descending all the way down until 2.7. 2.7 is not 2.7, but the go-around altitude, which you can see down here, is 500 feet total. So you cannot, if you reach 500 feet above the ground and you are still not perfectly on the center line, or not perfectly, but mostly on the center line and mostly at the right altitude, you have to do a go around. If you go under that, that means you're committing to the landing, which 500 feet above the runway is no small task. That's not terribly low to commit to, low to commit to the landing. In case of go around, so in case we have to go around, like we don't have the plane's unstable and won't be able to land, stuff like that. Climb on radio 017. So we climb in this direction, we go to this point, we loop around, come back, enter into this point, and then turn right. Yeah, turn right 270 to go to this waypoint to then start a looping procedure until we're safe, basically. Dude, this airport is so stinking high. What's the elevation on this thing? Should be somewhere. Airport elevation 5,473. Holy cow. Yeah, this is a high airport. We're going to have a lot of fun on this approach. I'm glad I took you guys on this one. Well, I'm going to go do some things, so I'm going to let the plane fly itself, and you guys just get to watch it for a little bit. You guys can probably skip ahead. I don't really care again, but yeah.
Turkish, 2 Golf Yankee, contact Ankara, control on 119.3. 2 Golf Yankee. Contact Ankara Control on 125.025. Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. Contact Ankara Control on 132.4. Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. Contact Ankara Control on 125.025.
Hello, I'm back. I don't know if you guys, ear warning? Yeah. Sun's rising. We might actually land with the sunrise. Or into the sunrise. Oh. I was supposed to be. I just realized I was on the ATC. I forgot about that. I'm sure y'all were having fun with me about that. Ankara Control, Turkish 2, Golf Yankee.
Turkish 2 Golf Yankee, Ankara Control, identified, günaydın.
Günaydın. I think that's like hello in Turkish. Or good morning. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I forgot about that fact that you actually still have to talk to people. I would not be a very good pilot just leaving it, but I would also have a first officer that would be paying more attention. I'm gonna go put on my sweater. Alright, we're back. Now with the sweater, so I'm a little bit more warm. Here comes the sunrise. Here comes the sunrise. Bum, bum, bum. Here comes the sunrise. Alright, let's see how. Got another hour and 14 minutes to. The hour and 7 minutes, I should say, until we land. UTC. This is our time, so we got a little while before we land. So we'll just watch the sunrise. Definitely one of the perks of being a pilot. this is beautiful. This is why I'm excited to start flying whenever I have the money to. I want to be able to experience something like this. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Air warning, I'm going to go to the outside of the aircraft. Oh, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. those clouds. My goodness. Holy cow. This is why I love flying. This is why I love flying. Goodness, look at those fluffy. Look at the fluffy hills. Look at the fluffy hills. Oh, that's so cute. Freaking love this. Look, our top of descent is over here. Once we get closer to it, I'll explain what it is, but for now, we'll just keep enjoying the sunrise.
Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. Contact Ankara Control on 128.65.
Sorry, I had to take a step away just because I needed to check on something. They did call me. Of course, every time I had to step away, I get freaking called. Ankara Control 128.65, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. Ankara Control, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee.
Turkish 2 Golf Yankee, Ankara Control, identified. İyi sabahlar.
İyi sabahlar. The weather just got updated. That's why you saw that weird blink. We got clouds coming in on the distant horizons. Mr. Krabs. Yep, here comes the top of descent. We'll talk about that once we're within 100 nautical miles of it. Now we'll just watch the sun continue to rise in the sky. One thing I just realized is we also need to technically have the other approaches ready, so I will pull up the other approaches. How's the RMP shorter than the localizer? I hope he chose the localizer or the RMP approach. Also the easiest to fly. I'll get those ready for us when we need to make our approach. Looks like we're passing over the mountains. The thing fluctuates quite rapidly whenever we're passing over the mountains due to the sharp elevation changes, as well as the potential of updrafts, so this happens quite often. Janagavaz is between these 2 points, by the way, so I'm just watching for that little arrow to be between those two.
Yankee. Expect the Biaz 1 Alpha arrival. Prepare to descend in roughly 20 minutes. If you'd like to descend now, just say the word.
Oops, my microphone was on. Biaz 1 Alpha arrival. Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. This is going to be an interesting airport, to say the least. Fluffy clouds. Almost to 100. I don't like to do the descent preparation procedures before 100 nautical miles, simply because it doesn't take very long and can easily be done in 100 nautical miles. So, try and only do it when we're 100 nautical miles out.
Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. Contact Ankara Control on 120.275.
Ankara Control on 127.075. Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. I'll just verify that. Two 75. Ankara Control, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee.
Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. Resume approach. Identified. Good morning.
Right. We're just about to cross approximately 100 nautical miles, so let's review the procedures. So first, the approach. Bayes 1 Alpha will be entering the Bayes, descending 1,300 down to 8,600, then mandatory 7,600 at Incal, 250 knots throughout until we reach Incal, in which case we must have a maximum speed of 200. We are expecting the localizer. Speaking of which, I do need to check and see that. Yep, Ivan is selected. So descending, mandatory 7,600 at Incal, then DME 5.97090.
2 Golf Yankee. Contact Ankara Control on 132.9er.
122.9er, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. Ankara Control, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. One thing I do need to know is, it's a long runway, so we'll have low braking action. The reason for it is so we don't wear out the brakes as much. We'll arm our spoilers to get ready for the approach. The approach information is almost out completely. We just need to get the QNH for Van for the airport we're requiring it. Alright. Well, winds are favoring us, so that's good. Weather 20 degrees Celsius. 080 at 4 knots. Our decision height is 503. We'll have our train on for this, just so that we're ready when we're making a descent. We'll go ahead and set this down to 2,000. Actually, we will do 500. Just so that the autopilot takes us all the way down to 500 and then we're ready. So, yeah, so what I just did is a bunch of setups. So I configured the MCP panel, the autopilot, to descend us to the altitude. I configured this with a bunch of approach information regarding how we're going to land once we get to the airport. So, in terms of information like wind direction, temperature, stuff like that, that would affect the approach. Then I turn my train on. You can see here there's some bits and bobs of green, but that's just me turning my train on. You can probably see some of the mountains off to our side. There's a hill right there. So there's a lot of things. So right now we're... Oh, one thing I do want to check and see, what is our transition altitude? 15,000. So we're going to, once we pass through 15,000, we have to change the local pressure, which is 1020 hectopascals. Come on, hurry up. Let's go. Alright, top of descent is approaching shortly. It's within 40 nautical miles. Still, we don't want to do it too early. Otherwise it's going to be very slow descent, like pretty much the entire way. So I usually like to do within 20 to 10 nautical miles of the actual top of descent, because this aircraft, unlike the Boeing, doesn't auto descend once you reach top of descent. You actually have to press the button to descend. So, fun fact. A little fun fact, I should say. Sorry. I accidentally clicked that. Didn't mean to, sorry. Alright. And again, we wait. Ankara Control, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee requesting descent. Enkadash Control, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee requesting descent. Ankara Control, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee requesting descent. Oh no, he's not responding. Ankara Control, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee, do you read us? No response, alright. I guess we're operating on our own now. So there is the approach. Looks like it's making us go quite fast, so we're going to turn our seatbelt signs on and we're going to extend our spoilers a bit, just so we have a bit more drag. Ooh, nice little mountains. Very lovely. Keep our terrain radar online. The duration of this. Yep, we're getting rid of the spoilers, don't worry. Really don't know what happened to the controller. Just gone. Look at this beautiful landscape. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I bet you he's just going to call up randomly and be like, oh, hi, Turkish 2 Golf Yankee. Yeah, you exist. It is what it is. I honestly prefer this so I don't have to make last minute adjustments if necessary. I guess he did say try to send right via this arrival, so we don't need to have clearance because we were given the descent clearance via the arrival. Oh yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. This is probably not a good idea to have done relatively late at night. Because man, I'm tired. But I've been meaning to do this flight for a while, and I finally got a chance to do it, and I'm quite happy and excited for it. I thought there was smoke for a moment off of that hill, but it was not. Someone else. Alright, let's see. Private cabin. It's incredible to think that these lakes that we're seeing here are 5,000 feet up in the air. That's just crazy to me. Somewhere in here is an airport also. I don't know where, but somewhere. So once again, 50 is where we church off. Yeah, somewhere along here there is a freaking... There's an airport somewhere here that we'll be landing at. I don't know where. Just to make sure anything has changed. Slight changes. 021, 10 degrees Celsius, or centigrade, however you want to say that. 260/2. There we go, that's a little bit closer to what we wanted. So that's nice. Transition point 150. Genuinely, where are we? Are we landing over here? Holy cow, we're probably landing over here. But yeah, this approach is crazy looking. We're already underneath that mountain. Alright, let's go ahead and transition this. 1021. There we go. Perfect. So we're going to overfly this, go left, and enter into this right here. Actually, the airport should be right here. We'll add a bit of drag just so that way it can reduce the speed a bit faster. Alright. Come on. And look at that view. Look at that view. Look at that view. Isn't that awesome? Oh my goodness, that's so cool. I freaking love that. I would be much more excited or like evident in my excitement, but right now it is quite late and I'm trying not to wake up my neighbors. So I'm trying to keep it relatively quiet. Oh man, just a little tired. Still don't know why I never got contacted by the approach controller. Oh. Like I said, it doesn't matter. Alright. 10,000 is reaching for shortly. So what hill is it that we're flying over? Might be this hill right here. I don't know, that seems a little too high. Alright, let's go ahead and turn on our lights. Get ready for the landing. Just like that. There we go. Flaps extended. Or I should say flaps 1 extended. Alright, this is going to be interesting. Let's see how this goes. There's the airfield, and here's the hill. They're talking about that we have to fly right over. We've only got a localizer.
2,000.
Localizer 1. Alright. 10 miles out. Oh, we are going to skirt that. I don't like this. I'm going around.
100
Too
above.
low. Terrain.
Alright, we're going to do this again. I didn't like the approach on that one, so gear up. Did not like that approach. That was not a great approach angle. I extended my gear way too late, which means I didn't get the speed reduction that we needed for that final approach. So we'll just have to do that. Again, go ahead and turn off our ILS. We're keeping QNH 1021 because of this. Alright, once we're at Baez, we will continue again. We're going to carry out this whole procedure. Actually, we're going to go from here direct to Baez. Yeah, we got 3.0 Gila, so we're going to bring down the gear a lot sooner on this next approach, just so we can get a lot more speed reduction. So we'll probably do it a few miles before the turning point. Yeah, because we're high, and especially when we're landing at a high altitude airport, it's a lot harder to reduce your speed because you don't have as much air hitting your aircraft, which means the drag is not necessarily as big as it would be when you're closer to sea level. So that's why that happened. So we'll go ahead and maintain this altitude until 30, and then once we're past it, we'll start the descent. Alright, let's go ahead and make this turn. This should be enough speed to not be an issue. I'm just watching the numbers to make sure that I press this at the right time. Once I start this churn, I'll press the button. Come on. Come on, there it is. No, we need this to be the other descent form. What's going on? Nope. Why is my normal descent not working now? Come on. I don't know. I don't know why it's not working. But I need it to freaking work. I cannot have this an open descent unless I take full control of it on final, which I would prefer not to, if at all possible. Also, I forgot to turn my lights off. Shucks. Well, that's gonna be great. Can my thing follow the approach procedure or not? Because I can't have this big eye doing its own thing. Well. What the heck? Okay, so yeah, no, it's not doing. That's why it wasn't working. You need to stop descending now. Thank you. I hadn't activated approach phase. Okay, whoops. That's on me. Let's bring this down to 500. This is a lot better than the last approach. To be fair, we started descending way too early, but it kind of fixed one of our other problems that we were having, which was the speed. Alright, let's do this again, but with the proper speed this time. Okay. Alright, flaps full. On spoilers, arm seatbelt on, no smoking on. Landing lights are on. Gear down. This is a lot better. This is a lot better up an approach. Alright. Alright. This one I can't just easily chicken away from. Mine do need to make a decision.
2,500.
Just make sure we stay at least 500 above the terrain.
$2,000.
Cabin. Stewards. Suites are landing. Or where the heck is cabin crew seats are landing, that's the word. Should not be idle. Alright, here it comes. We'll take control of the aircraft at 1,000. And not this 1,000, not the 1,000 on this ground, but the 1,000 above the lake surface. We're going to be high for most of this because of the approach angle, but it's to be expected. Approach angle 3.57.
1,000.
Localizer captured. 2000. My controls. Side wind blow from left. Keep those peppy lights in line. Keep that descent going down. Keep it going
100
down.
above.
500.
Minimum.
Continue.
400. 300.
Sink rate.
Pull up,
Sink
pull
rate.
up, pull up, pull up,
Sink
pull up,
rate.
pull up, pull up, pull up.
Speed, speed, speed. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20.
Retard. Retard.
10.
5.
I'm gonna roll this out all the way to the end, and we're going to backtrack because for whatever reason in my version it doesn't exist. So well, the taxiway on the left side doesn't exist for whatever reason in this version. So we'll just pull off to the side here. Okay, well, that was a good recovery. I did not realize that my engines had completely disengaged. Or my auto throttle had completely disengaged. I should have taken more control of that. But yeah, the auto throttle completely. I should have disabled my auto throttle manually to prepare myself better for that. But yeah,
Approaching runway 21.
we're not taking off. Don't worry. But yeah, I saw it last minute that my speed was dropping significantly lower than I wanted it to. Now, thankfully, because of the steep approach that we need to make in order to actually land on the runway, the lost speed was actually compensated for mostly. But having completely idle engines is not a good thing when you're on that close of an approach. Your engines should be at least 50% spooled. So thankfully that's quick. Thankfully I was able to quickly realize what was happening because I was concentrating on this. I did not, and I'm not in the simulator. I'm not physically in the plane. I don't feel the aircraft suddenly losing power, and it didn't process into my mind that there is no sound coming from the engines, or very little sound coming from the engines, until I started hearing speed, and that's when I looked over in the corner and saw this, and saw that my engines were completely shut down, basically, in terms of power production. And I freaked out. So I quickly grabbed the controls and pushed it up just to compensate for the lost speed, and then remain it at a position that was able to support the it will support the landing and roll out.
Approaching runway 21.
Shut up. But holy cow, was that incredibly stressful nonetheless. I genuinely don't think I've ever experienced as stressful yet as clean of a landing as that. Holy smokes, that was insane. Because yeah, the the localizer approach keeps you high because it has to avoid this mountain. So it keeps you high for the entire descent until right at the last minute when you're supposed to really quickly descend. So praise the Lord for that. For that stinking me being high and having to descend quickly, I should say. Alright, well, let's go ahead and park this baby. I did not drive this very well. Alright, let's go ahead and cut off engine 1 and engine 2. Alright, lights off. We'll go ahead and release the passengers. Holy moly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, was our quick stopover trip from Istanbul to Havana Airport. That was one of the freakiest landings I think I've ever done, but we managed to keep it going out and it worked. So praise the Lord for that. So hope you guys have a good one. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care, God bless, and see ya.